Hi, let's look at how FabuLingua can fit into your schedule on a daily basis in the classroom, particularly if time is of a constraint. Now, you can look at this and copy paste it, or you can just take what works, adjust it, be creative, add your own flair. This is really just to give you a general idea of how it could work on a regular classroom schedule. The nice thing about FabuLingua is that it's very solid on its own. So you literally could just hand it over and the kids start learning. But we know best practices if you connect and extend and share the bigger ideas and you spiral vocabulary and concepts, then the kids learn more deeply and they learn more. So this schedule is really built with that in mind. But at the end of it, I will also show, if you really do just want to hand it over, what all could be crossed out and where you're really just focusing on some dedicated time students on the app. All right, let's look at the schedule. This particular template is for a Montessori classroom, so it might look very different than other situations. But we've got our days laid out here, and here are the general times. As you can see, each morning we start either on the playground or setting up the classroom and having a free choice. That would not necessarily be academic work, although it can be, would be, within the teacher's parameters as to what the children are choosing to do during that time frame. And then we have either a class meeting or a morning lesson. And then we have what we call our work period. And then we have lunch and recess. And you'll notice that we have these specials rotations. Some of them, like PE, are only 30 minutes long. And that's an hour block. So after that 30-minute PE block, we would have our dedicated FabuLingua time for 30 minutes. Now, when I just put FabuLingua on here, I mean time dedicated for students to work on their own pace. That is student with the app. And that's not us talking about it, us doing extension activities necessarily. That's the use of the app. So then the next day we have art, the next day we have music, and then we have PE again. So then we have our FabuLingua time after PE. And then when we have gardening, they take only half of the students at once, which means the other half are in our classroom and they will do FabuLingua then. And then after 30 minutes, we switch. And then the other class who is at gardening will be working on FabuLingua and vice versa. So you'll notice after that, I have a 30-minute block for special projects on Sundays. That's the day where they were able to work on FabuLingua. And on the days where they were at a special for 1 hour, in that 30-minute block, they work on FabuLingua. So every day, here, 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 and here, they have dedicated FabuLingua time. Now, and then you'll notice we have our read aloud and then our dismissal time. So there are obviously exceptions. There are, fire drills and assemblies, substitute teaching, which might affect things. But in general, you can see how this template has prioritized the daily use of the FabuLingua. There are also some optional times, for example, this free choice during the morning setup, during recess, if it is inclement weather, if we have indoor recess due to it being rainy. If, let's say, during music class, there was a substitute, or rather the music teacher was out and was not able to get a substitute, then maybe I have them and maybe we would do some extra FabuLingua that day. So there are some ways to get creative with other optional times if you're wanting to add it. Now, you'll notice with this morning block here for class meetings and morning lessons. Now, generally speaking, these morning lessons are not FabuLingua related. Those are morning lessons on grammar or on the layers of the earth, whatever it is that we might need to have a lesson that involves the whole class. Now, I would use that, and you will see just a moment on a more specific schedule. I would use that time to occasionally have some FabuLingua vocabulary games. Of course, this depends very much on if the teacher is fluent in Spanish. If not, then they may not feel comfortable using a morning lesson time where you have all of the students at once to do some bigger games or activities, but you certainly have, well, I would consider that time as available for those bigger concepts. Now, of course, you could just use that FabuLingua time when you need to have those lessons. When I need to do smaller groups, such as, let's say I've got a group of kids who are a little bit further along, but having trouble on the level that they are, then that would give me a chance to work with them. Or maybe I'm introducing the matching game and I want to work with a smaller group, then I would use the FabuLingua time for that. So if time is a concern, then this FabuLingua time right here, those 30 minutes a day, could be the only time available. Or even if, you know, it's, let's say you've got some crunch time coming up and you don't even feel like that's available, then, you know, you could take these free choices just 2 days a week for, 30 minutes or so. That's still a significant use of the app. And you can see how, even though this is a very general template, so not specific plans in here, but it gives you a good idea of how to be creative to add this time in on a daily basis.